look at that. Hey guys, okay, this is how to wire the RDP to the rear and the buffer tube. So instead of the old monster grip that scared you guys, you're like, oh, it's scary. Well, I went ahead and put on a little XCR grip. There's nothing in there, no batteries, just small and compact, and it's wired to the rear. So that's cool. I'm using basically a little buffer tube LiPo number 1. Had the Madbull KX strip here. And for the side rail, I was thinking about putting an optic back here, but it'd be more work. And I'm thinking, like, what do you guys have at your house, or we can find at boneyards? And I'm like, that's kind of like how I'm thinking about this. Like, what's the easiest way you guys could do this? And looking at this, I just went with this little AK rail. It comes standard on some of the E&Ls, but you can probably find it at EVIC or GI or any of the airsoft stores. So that's cool. Bolts on the side, so you still have a side rail for a flashlight if you like. And then I went ahead and put this extra rail on here, so now it's like, yeah. And what's cool is the optic is perfect height, because if you have it too low, it wouldn't work because just how your face sits and the optic. So this is ideal height compared to a rail right here. So awesome. Okay, and go ahead and watch the video. So it's going to be some slides, and I'm going to talk about what I did, because it took like maybe 30 minutes to figure out the stuff. But you can, if you do this and follow along, all you need is a Dremel tool and 10 minutes of work. So, and if you can solder, of course. Other than that, you're awesome, and thanks for watching. Stay tuned. Thanks. Bye. Okay, here is the RDP. I'm going to go ahead and take the wires from the front and put it in the back of the gearbox. First, you want to take off the little selector lever and the safety switch, so don't lose those little parts. Then you're going to want to take off the little front body pin, just tap it out, and then also the rear body pin, tap them out, but you don't lose them, and you don't have to beat on it too hard. Go ahead and take off the buffer tube screw, and done. Don't forget the sling loop. Unscrew the one end, pull it completely through, and the little Phillips screw in the bottom of the pistol grip for the motor adjustment. Okay, you're going to see how the lower frame is sort of wiggly, but you can't get it off completely. So let's go ahead and see why. You're going to need to gently separate the upper frame from these two little buttons on either side, and you can separate and pop it off like so. Cool. Okay, now you have the frame off and the parts exposed. That's good. Remove the front pistol grip with the tool. It's either an Allen or a Phillips, depending on. And now you have the gearbox and your hop-up unit removed. Go ahead and use a plug extractor, or you can just cut the plug off if you like and feed it through. You have a lot of wire going from the front of the gearbox out. So if you position it to the rear, you're going to see, wow, you still have a lot. Is it enough to go to the buffer tube, to the end, so you can still plug it in? Eyeballing it, it sort of looks like you can, but you can't really. So let's go ahead and get the parts and start cutting the holes to route it through. Just using a Dremel bit and just going to cut. You can use a small hole. Buffer tube will hide it, so you can do this pretty easy and fast. Okay, with all this extra wire and you have the rear section basically routed with the wire, you're going to notice all this extra spaghetti slop wire. What you want to do is basically cut that little heat shrink and separate the black wire, yank it through, and you're going to notice how you can clean it up very nicely and have basically, as you see, one red wire and then the long black wire. Otherwise it's going to bind up in upper and not really fit together. Okay, I'm going to use the banana connectors from Modify, basically like what you find like in a VFC or the Echo Platinums, and this will allow me to disconnect the wires without having this big bulky plug, and they're pretty good on resistance. So let me go ahead and solder them in, heat shrink, and then I'm going to go ahead and put an additional thing of heat shrink on there. 1, to seal it and insulate, and then 2, to basically hold them together so they don't get yanked out by accident when I'm changing batteries or running around or whatnot. Okay, now for the rail on the front, I went through the boneyard and I found the spec box, and I'm like, oh, that's cool. And by coincidence, this is pure luck, the holes line up. So I'm like, okay, cool. I'm just going to go ahead and use that. So this video has basically showed you how to take your RDP, which some people say it's boring, and now you can customize it. So you have threaded barrel, you have wire to the rear, then you have the buffer tube, all kinds of cool things you can do with it. So go ahead and like, share, and subscribe. Make sure you let your friends know that have an RDP, that think that it's not the best, but like, hey, look at this is pretty cool, and maybe that can inspire them to do some custom work, or take it to the local store and do the same. So this has been Brian from Echo1. You say thanks for watching. Talk to you later. Bye.